Hey everybody, Ian Campbell, CEO of Mission Suite here. Today is day 18 of my 20-day Facebook Live video challenge. Today I'm going to be talking about, going to kind of go back to a basic conversation about CRM. Today I actually had a meeting with a couple folks, good old-fashioned sales guys who really didn't do a whole, don't use a lot of digital tools to sell, right? I mean, they've got a good business, they do a lot of sales, they do a lot of deals, but they just have never needed tools, right? They've been doing sales in the same way for a very long time, and frankly, it's the way that I did it. I did it for a really long time myself, with paper and files, and maybe some folders in your Outlook box or what have you, or Gmail or whatever it is. But not using a lot of different tools to leverage that. So they asked me to come in and talk to them about, kind of on a very basic level, what are the things that a CRM could do for them, and how can you keep it as simple as possible. And I know I've talked about simplicity before. I've talked about keeping things neat and tidy before. Things like that make just in conversations that we've had about making sure that your sales team is actually adopting the use of your CRM. But what happens if you're the one that you're concerned about adoption for, right? So I mean, if you're the one that realizes that you need a CRM, but you're just not sure that you're going to be reliable in using it because, for whatever reason, right? Because you're either going to, you think that you're either going to just forget about it, you think that it's going to be too complicated, and so you kind of talk yourself out of it before you even get to a point where you're starting to work inside of it. So what I thought I'd talk a little bit about today is the importance of simplicity in a CRM and how you can keep it as basic as possible. Because what I've found in my 7 years of implementing these systems for my clients is that if you keep it simple and you start slow and you start at the very basic level, then ultimately you're going to start seeing some results, and you're going to start seeing that this technology is actually really beneficial for you, and that it's helpful, and so you're going to be able to you're gonna see that it's helping you close deals, it's helping you make new contacts, it's helping you do all these things, because that's what a CRM does. And even at its most basic level, before we start adding in any automation, any email marketing, anything like that, at its most basic level, you can make sure that your CRM can do the job. So what are the things that you need to make sure that you have in a very basic CRM? Well, we've been hearing about CRM. CRM has been a conversation since the early 2000s. Of course, Salesforce is kind of the big one that came out with the software version of it first. But CRM has been around for a lot longer than that, and at its core, at the very basic level, your CRM is there to make sure that you don't lose any of your contacts. So first and foremost, number one, what do you need from the most basic CRM? If you want to strip everything else out of your CRM, what do you absolutely need? So number one, it's a place to store your contacts. So which contacts? Well, I mean, I'm a fan of of just dumping everybody that I meet into my CRM. Every contact that I make, everybody that I talk to, whether it's a connection through LinkedIn, or maybe it's a conversation that I have at a networking event, everybody goes into my CRM, because there's always going to be a time that I may want to look up that information, right? That I may want to connect with that person. Other people tend to focus more only on sales deals, on sales opportunities, or current customers, or just their prospects, because they have their own customer database that they have to use for something else. Regardless, number one, space to hold your contacts, right? So first and foremost, make sure that you have a system that you can trust to store your contacts, and it's going to be safe, secure, and you're not going to be dealing with data breaches and things like that. So number two, what are we looking for? So number two is we're looking for your task reminders and your task list. So being able to store notes on conversations that you've had with your clients or with your prospects, right? So you and I have a phone call, and I want to, and it's not a scheduled phone call, but it's just something that I want to make sure goes into our conversation history, so that I don't forget the details of that conversation. Because as good as I am or as I like to think that I am, the reality of the situation is that nobody remembers as much as they want to, right? And so, and I've learned this the hard way, that oftentimes those salient details that you may kind of gloss over and say, yeah, okay, I'll remember that because it's pretty straightforward. A lot of times those are the ones that are going to go first and foremost because they get archived, and that's a whole different conversation. But, so, you want to make sure that you have the ability to track that history, to track the history of your conversations with contacts. Moreover, you want to be able to assign yourself task reminders. So, for example, you and I finished that phone call, and we agree, yes, I'm going to follow up with you in a week and a half, right? And that conversation, I'm going to call you at 1:30 on a week and a half from now. So, and on that Wednesday or whatever the day is, we're going to have this specific conversation. This is the follow up that we're going to do. Whether it's okay, I check to make sure that integration works, or yes, it turns out that we can service that kind of a team, or whatever those notes are that you have, whatever the reason that you have to follow up is, and the exact method of conversation, you want to be able to store that again, have that in the task reminder, so that you're able to, so that you're able to ultimately make sure that when you do call again, you're not relying on past notes and just past conversations. You have that information right there. So, which brings me to the third part of a simple CRM. You need a notification system, some way to notify you when something is due. Because if you're in a simple CRM, or some sort of a basic CRM, you may not have it open all the time. It's not advised. I recommend keeping your CRM open whenever you're sitting at your desk, so that you have all that information. But you may not keep your CRM open all the time, and that's okay too, right? It's all about the way that works best for you. Because again, we're not here to work for our CRM. We're here to make sure that our CRM is working for us. So whatever works best to make sure that you're using it reliably, it's fine by me. But you need a notification system. You need some way to be notified when a call is coming up due, or when a meeting is coming up due. That's not on your calendar. That's something that's secondary. That's some sort of a pop-up or an email. With Mission Suite, one of my favorite parts of the system is that I can set an email reminder to be sent to me an hour before I schedule an activity to be coming due. And so what I do on a day is I schedule every task that I need to complete to be due at 9 a.m. on the day that I want to get it done. And so at 8 a.m. every morning, I get a series of emails that tell me the details of each call or each follow-up or each meeting that I have to make, right? So, for example, phone call to John Smith, phone number is 555 whatever, email is at gmail.com, and here are the notes for this specific call. Right, so all that information is right there in my inbox, and so some people like using mobile apps. I'm not a huge mobile app fan. In fact, it took me a long time to get Facebook pages back on my phone, so that I could actually start doing these things live in the first place. But so for me, I like my inbox. I like the emails. I like to make sure that an email pops up with all the contact information, because that's easy for me to click. And so having something like that, making sure that something is there to notify you when a task is coming due, is super important, right? So because that's what you need. And then finally, the fourth and final thing that you absolutely 100% need in even your most basic CRM platform is a way to track your sales opportunities. And so what do I mean by that? We're talking about, if you and I have that conversation, we do that follow-up, and that means, yes, you know what, let's start talking about how we can work together. We have a sales opportunity. I have the opportunity to do business with you. And so I want to track that. I want to make sure that goes into my pipeline, and that's in the database, that's in the system. It's attached to the contact record. I want to make sure that it's not getting lost. And so it's not just another spreadsheet that sits on my desktop. It's something, or a list on my whiteboard, which I used to have, but that list on my whiteboard would never actually, it just doesn't work. I mean, it might work for some people, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to advise for everybody, but my experience, it doesn't work the way that you think that it's going to. So anyway, so having those sales opportunities and the ability to track those sales opportunities and the details of those sales opportunities. Again, looking at Mission Suite, we have the ability to track all of the the source information, where the deal itself came from, where what the notes of the deal are, the value of it, the whole 9 yards. But we can also track weighted percentages, so I can see that at each step of the sales cycle, I have, maybe it bumped into a 30% chance to win instead of a 10%. Now, when I move it to the demo completed, it bumps into a 50% chance to win, or whatever the case is. But having that kind of a actual deal tracking system is super important. And if you can make it easy, if you can make it really easy to manage, like Mission Suite's drag and drop opportunities manager, then it becomes amazingly simple, because all you have to do is move a deal from one stage to the next. It updates everything for you and you're done, right? Without having to leave your dashboard. So anyway, 4 things that you absolutely need to have in even the simplest CRM. And if you get started there and you start working in that, and you start seeing how much easier it is to keep all that information in one system, and so you're not kind of pulling from Google Drive and from this and from that file over there, but everything's all together in one, and then you're seeing how reliably you're making your follow-up calls and you're doing your things when you're being notified that a task is coming due, and you can see the deals in a visual manner. You can see exactly how much, what deals you're working on at any given time. If you have that kind of a system, if you at least have those 4 things, you're going to start seeing results coming from the usage of your CRM, and from that perspective. And then once you start seeing results, you're going to want to figure out how to do more with it. And that's one of the beautiful things about a great system, right? Is that you're going to start using it. You may wade in, kind of toe first at the beginning, but ultimately you're going to see some results, and then there's always more, right? So then you're going to ask yourself, well, okay, so this has gotten me this far, right? So maybe I should do this. So this much effort has gotten me this much results. Well, what happens if I bump the effort up to this? Is it going to get me even more results? How do I keep building off of that? And so you'll notice that as you start to use that CRM at the very basic level, you'll start to just kind of level up, if you will. And then you'll start, and I promise you that you'll start seeing results. So anyway, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts in the comments. So let me know and share this video to help spread the word, and to get other people's thoughts too. I'm always interested in hearing more. So anyway, this is a Friday right now, so I'm going to wish you all a very good weekend. I mentioned last week that it was my wife's birthday, and so we're having part, I don't even know what this is. I think it's like part 5 of her birthday celebration this weekend. So big barbecue and everything like that. So I hope you all have some great plans as well. And I hope you all have a great weekend. And day 19 is coming on Monday. And so I will talk to you then. Have a good one.